if Valerie Jolie is on yet. Valerie, are you available, or you can come on later? But we do have several testimonies. Some are written, and then Valerie had an amazing testimony that fits right into what we're going to be talking about today. And she might be on just in a few more minutes. But if anybody has any testimonies to share, I see somebody has a funny story. Here's Valerie. Hi, Valerie. She's coming on. There. Hi, Valerie.
Hello.
So good to see you. And we just jumped right into it. We thought we might put you on the spot. You have some amazing testimonies, and you said you'd share them with us. So I think I'll just let you say hello, and whatever you'd like to add about the WAVwatch or your experiences would be great.
I can't say enough good things about it. I use it every day. So I bought your 10-pack of WAVwatches, and my first customer was Virginia. And I've known her for over 20 years. And she lives on the east side of Portland, and I live on the west side. So anyway, she has never driven the freeway to come see me. So she came over, drove the back roads, bought the watch. Half an hour later, she couldn't believe the difference. And about an hour later, she drove home on the freeway. That's how quick it took care of her panic attacks.
Wow.
So just amazing. And then my friend Kim, I've known her for 20 some years, and she's, oh my goodness, had so many health challenges. And she uses it every day. She had mercury poisoning, all kinds of health issues, stress, panic attacks, and she just swears by it. But anyway, my latest wonderful, wonderful news, my granddaughter, who's 17, is graduating this year, and she's had really bad panic attacks where she has difficulty breathing. And I gave her for graduation a WAVwatch, and she's having amazing results. So she's using the brain setting to study for her finals for college. So that's been truly amazing. Best gift anyone could ever get.
Now, did she have something with panic attacks too, Valerie?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. She's had panic attacks since she was a little girl. So,
And any improvements in that? Maybe I missed you saying that, but
yes, when my granddaughter gets on the freeway and drives, she has, pretty awful nervous condition. And she said, Grandma, I drove home and didn't have a problem. So she only lives 26 miles from me, but to get there, she has to take the freeway. So, yeah. And
perfect.
Then I have another friend, Ree. I gave it to her as a gift. My friend Ree, and she has super high stress. She's a CPA. So I gave her one, and she loves it.
Wow.
So,
Okay. What does
yeah.
she use it for?
Stress.
Stress.
Yeah. Big stress. Today, it's tax season, and she's a CPA.
Oh, yeah.
So I saw her yesterday, and yeah, she's grateful to have her WAVwatch.
Well, thank you so much for your enthusiasm and sharing it and giving it as gifts. And, we're finding out as we learn more about anxiety and panic attacks that it's our younger generation that can be really affected,
Oh, definitely.
they have had
Yeah.
such a hard time. And so when you reach out and share with the young ones who can't afford to purchase it, obviously, you are really sometimes changing their lives and helping them to succeed more in high school or college or whatever, wherever it may be.
Can I share about my pups?
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot. You have
I
more
was
testimonies.
I was gonna say before you go on to the pups, somebody asked what frequencies your friends were using. You mentioned a couple different stories, but I didn't know if you knew what frequencies you showed them to use or any.
Panic attack.
Okay,
Yeah. Anxiety, panic attack.
in the emotions folder.
Hmm.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah. So anyway, this is my new invention. I stapled the WAVwatch to my dog's collar. This is the WAVwatch. I stapled the little band part because I had an extra band. So I stapled it to the dog bra, and I use it for stress, parasites. Yeah, and my one little pup is 13 years old and she has breathing issues. So I put this on her for her lungs, and she hasn't had a lung issue since I started putting this on the pups. So anyone that has pups, you can just get an extra band and staple it to their harness. And that way they can wear it all night.
I love it. And you said you could tell the difference in the parasites when you put parasites there, they had some good improvements.
Well, pups scratch their bum on the floor,
Yep.
and they're
So
not doing that.
So you knew there were some, things that you could tell that helped definitely. So, we know to use parasite remedies for our animals sometimes, but we don't use them for ourselves. So
Oh,
hopefully
I do.
the WAVwatch will help you set up that for yourself because we need the parasite remedies also, just like our animals do.
Well, they
All
sleep
right.
with me.
Oh, yeah, you definitely need them. Okay. Everybody needs the parasite remedies in. All right, Valerie, anything else you wanted to add? I just thank you so much for coming on today and your excitement because I know, you're on the West Coast, so it's a little bit earlier for you.
Well, I've just been using the WAVwatch for my back issue. In 2020, somebody ran a red light, totaled my car, and really messed up my spine. So it was spasming really bad. And now with my WAVwatch, I can just pop right out of bed and no spasms. Love
Perfect.
it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. That is hard once you have so many people have so many different aches and pains. And so thank you for sharing and giving people some different ideas on how to work with their WAVwatch. I really appreciate that. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. I think we've got one more testimony. Lynn, you said your husband Randy has a testimony if you could come on, and then we'll go ahead with our presentation. Is that going to work out?
Yeah, we'll pull Lynn in, and Valerie, thanks again. Great,
Thank
great.
you.
Phillips.
And there was a question, does a parasite setting kill fleas and ticks or just make them leave the body? I would say it could be doing either, but frequencies do have the ability to self-amplify. And so whatever they're targeting could fall apart, be killed, that type of thing.
Yeah, I
And
don't
there's
have
one of
flea
those lovely
problems.
puppies. There's one of those dogs.
This is
Okay,
Grace.
Lynn, this is Grace.
Yes.
Grace. Okay.
Mute. There we go.
There you go, Lynn.
Okay, here's my husband, Randy.
Hello, Linda.
Hi there.
The troop of troops.
Hey, Lynn, just so people can see you, do you mind turning on your video?
I'd be happy to.
All right, great.
Okay, here's
There.
hubby. Randy,
Okay.
sit up a little bit, honey, so they can hear you.
For several years, I've had a problem with tendonitis in my left shoulder. So I'm pretty good in health, but I support Lynn, and I've used the device for low back pains like in years. Yeah. So, and for other ailments, and I use them primarily as just preventive kind of things. But I said, well, Lynn, is there something on there for tendonitis in the shoulder? She says, oh, yeah. Then she showed me where it was. And then when I put it on, I ran it. I usually run them for 2 to 4 hours, and then I switch to something else. Again, normally as preventive. But this time it went away. Now it doesn't stay away, and I usually run it once a day for shoulder, under pain, under bones. Is that right?
I think it's pain, joints, shoulder.
Oh, yeah, pain, joint, shoulder. And it made a tremendous difference in the pain level for me, because I couldn't do things like put my hand behind my head. It was just too painful, or putting it behind my back. And but now I can. Uh, so yeah, I use it as preventive more so than absolutely making it less painful. That's what I know. I know I have to say it that way. So
But you know,
okay,
the day that you decided to try it, he decided to go back to the gym and work out. Uh-huh. And so he was really, really in pain. It's like, honey, my shoulder is really hurting. Is there anything on the WAVwatch I can use? And I'm like, yeah, you know. And he did. And I mean, what a difference it's made. What a tremendous difference. So thank you, thank you, thank you. One more wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that so much. Did I interrupt? Was there anything else you were going to add?
Nope. Just thank
Okay.
you for everything.
Okay. All righty. So I think we'll go ahead and start giving a little bit of information on how you can use the WAVwatch for some pain and anxiety and some ideas about that. And, we start out with some testimonies right away with the anxiety, because obviously if we're in pain, we're going to be anxious. Everything just ties together. So these are a little bit more specific. So let's see what we can do here. So I'll share my presentation.
So we're gonna drop off. Love you guys. Have a great call.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Let's see. Well, I know many of you have seen this several times, but don't forget that we have over 1,000 frequencies, and you can use those in different orders, make your own playlists and work with those. And that's what we're going to kind of show you a little bit today, maybe on the information about anxiety and panic attacks. So I don't know how many of you were on last week, but my assistant, Courtney, who is such a doll, was on. And she may have showed this picture. I don't actually know. I haven't seen her presentation yet, but this is her dog. So this is Tucker. And he was in some kind of a problem, had some kind of an accident. I don't remember all the details, but she shared this picture with me that she was using this for anxiety. So you can't get a better picture than that, can you? So that'll start it off right. If our dogs and animals, and we've already had Valerie tell us that she uses it for her dogs. Lots of people use the WAVwatch for anxiety for themselves. And even if you are wearing it and your pet is sitting on your lap, it will be absorbing those anxiety frequencies also. So you can get a 2-for-1 type idea there. Or like Tucker, you could just, if it's an animal that, is going to stay still, you could possibly strap it around them. You could be creative like Valerie did with her strap. Or you could actually just set it on a counter, or an end table, coffee table, nightstand, whatever, and play the frequency. And I've had many people tell me that their animals just come right up and set right underneath the watch wherever it's setting at. And they like the frequencies. They don't run from it. They do like it. And cats also, which was surprising to me. So cats like it, horses like it, all kinds of things we have testimonies on. So don't forget, if you're, getting kits, a set, you're going to get the 24-page booklet. And if you lose your booklet, you can just download another one right off our website. If you want to share one to give to somebody else and give them an idea of what the WAVwatch can do, that's a great and easy idea too. And so when you get it, you will have a film that you need to pull off right here. And then you'll need to put your screen protector on for that. And once in a while, people don't see that and they'll think that, they'll skip that step. So you do need to make sure that you do that. And then we do have 2 wristbands. So you can choose either the Velcro one or the leather one. We've got a carrying case, a charging cord, and charging brick. So you should get all of those in your kit. And I'm sorry to say that some people don't like a black wristband. They want a pink one or a blue one or something. So the directions are in the book for the size if you would like a different wristband. So you can be as creative as you want on the wristbands. I just am not a big enough company that I can stock 50 different selections for wristbands. So be creative on your own. It is a Fitbit wristband. And then, of course, I always have to go over this page, but don't forget that this is not a medical device. It's not been FDA, approved. When people talk about it, it's volunteer. Valerie and Lynn and her husband just volunteered. They have not been paid for any testimonies. Once in a while, we will use a word that does sound like it's a medical, like ALS is a medical word that we are using just to identify that frequency set. We are not saying that this is a medical diagnosis and we are not doing the diagnosis at all. And my favorite phrasing to use on this is that even though frequencies have been around, in the beginning was the word, even though they've been around since the beginning of time, they're still considered experimental. And I laugh at that every time I tell you that. So we are trying to work to teach you how to take a little bit more control of your health. I'm very concerned about our healthcare system that only steers you to taking a pill, that everything can be solved with a pill. And anybody and everybody I think that's on this call is of that mindset. We are looking for different ideas. So that's why the WAVwatch was developed. So we're using acoustical frequencies from 20 to 20,000. They're simple, they're cost effective, they're drug free. It is really self-care and it empowers you. I think that's a big word that I really need to start using more. We're trying to empower you, not just educate you. And so that you can empower other people, just like Valerie passed a watch to her granddaughter. Just think what she's helping her to learn and to do. So it's a great way to empower the next generation. Very important. And we've got 1,000 selections. There are 3 swipe screens. There's 4 ways to repeat the frequency. You can make 3 playlists and you don't have to hear it, so you can absorb it through the speaker on the back. You do not have to play it loud. So I think that's just a little bit, I have to cover that. Sometimes we have new people on that might need to hear that. Other times we have people that are going, gosh, do I have to listen to that again? So I apologize. I know what that's like when you've heard something more than once. But anyway, to move ahead, our anxiety statistics are pretty sobering. And they're scary, actually. About a fifth of our population, a fifth of our population, 19%, 40 million people are having trouble with anxiety. So the most common one is called general anxiety disorder, is with 6.8 million adults. I mean, I just try to read these off. I don't want to be too, but I've highlighted them for you. But 50% of those between the ages of 18 and 24 may have anxiety symptoms. So there's our younger age group. And just think of all they've been through lately. It's only gotten worse. It hasn't gotten better. Also, women are more likely to be anxious than men. And maybe the statistic that will help us the most to educate and empower others is that people are maybe looking for a way to treat anxiety. They may not be searching medical ideas. They want something and they are reaching out. So 60% of those people don't seek treatment for anxiety. So as friends and neighbors and relatives, we can be able to share and say, hey, this is a new idea. Have you heard of this? The WAVwatch might be helpful for you. People are looking for something new. We are starting to wake up. Some of even the over-the-counter prescriptions, or over-the-counter ideas have gotten so dangerous. So people are wanting to learn. So I kind of alluded to this a little bit. I don't think I needed to show this. I think every single one of us know that during COVID, there was much more anxiety and depression. The whole world was in a mess, and we were having health problems and mental health problems. So this is from who? The World Health Organization. This is their statistic. This is their information. I got this from their website, and this was in 2022. So I do not know if they have updated it, if there's any changes, but our young people were definitely having trouble, and even suicide and self-harming problems were occurring. And again, we've already mentioned that women are more impacted. But then they did say if you had asthma, cancer, and heart disease, that was actually harder on your mental health also. So probably people were worrying more. They had heard the statistic that, if you had some existing physical conditions, that COVID was harder on you. So I can imagine that would set anybody's anxiety off. So whichever way you're going with this, and, knowing somebody around you that is in an anxious situation or anxiety or depression, we just know that it's not gotten worse. So I'm so thankful that you are, on here and willing to share or learn. If you haven't used the WAVwatch for anxiety yet, it's a new possibility. Now, this was interesting to me. I learned so much every time I put something together to share with you. They actually have a phrase that's called techno stress. How's that one? So I'm going to pick on my son, John. You might have to unmute here. Have you heard of techno stress? Are you a techno stress person? Look at these ideas.
That's a new phrase for me, but I obviously understand it as soon as you said it there. And I understand that sometimes it can be really overwhelming. I mean, imagine if you sort of walk into a rave for the first, not that I'm a raver, but hypothetically, if you see something on the show and it's like this, ootsa, 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 and then lights flashing and all that. I think sounds like techno stress to me, but I'm not certain that I fully understand every other aspect of it. But I see what you're saying, and that I'm actually just kind of working on product development and analyzing what all's out there and what all we're exposed to. And so I actually ended up buying, speaking of techno stress, I ended up buying a EMF meter, and I've been kind of running it all over the place. I'm, running it here and running it there, and just kind of trying to understand what it is that we're exposed to. And it's a bit, some things are more than I had thought, and some things are less than I had thought. But it definitely gives some, and I'm just trying to do some more research on that in general. So.
Perfect. And so John, right now, what's the worst EMF? What puts out the worst?
Oh, the
Is it your
microwave.
micro?
The
Yeah.
microwave's the worst, and and the distance on it as well. It was kind of a COVID joke, but the 6 feet means 6 feet. But yeah, about 6 feet from your microwave is about the safest distance to be from it. But inside of that, it really has it makes the electric and the magnetic one just both go nuts. So
Right.
yeah.
So we can be getting this invisible stress, very invisible, but then it can actually be, even just the fact that we know we're sitting at our computer. And I'm going to, tease my son again too, because my son's asked me to get a iPhone. I had been an Android user. And so last week I switched over to iPhone, and talk about being techno stressed. I'm having trouble. I can't get everything to perform like I want it to, which I know it does. I just have to figure it out. But I guess I would say I'm in that techno stress group right now. I'm having information fatigue. I'm not quite sure how I'm getting things done. But anyway, we know we live in this society today. So here's another way. We've been stressed from COVID. We're stressed from our normal life. Now we're stressed from all the tools that we work and the things in the air around us that are invisible. We've covered that many times. I did have someone submit a testimony, and she was saying, I'm so very grateful that I decided to purchase the watch. It's a true blessing, and feel that it's helping my immune system and depression. And see, depression works right in with the anxiety that we're talking about today. I continue using various frequencies, and I'm continually experimenting. I feel this purchase is one that I recommend to others in need. Okay. So we need help. We need something else. So if we go on to the very idea about panic disorders, I'm not sure that these statistics are correct, because if it really is 2.7% of our adults have panic attacks, then why have I heard of about 30 people lately that have had panic attacks? It seems a little bit more, but I'm not the person keeping the statistics. And this was from the National Institute of Mental Health, So are there higher statistics, worse statistics? I don't know, but it does seem to me like there could be some more reasons for people to pay attention to what's on the WAVwatch and figure out what could be helpful when they get in some kind of a panic or an anxiety or a depression or a phobic problem or whatever you want to label it by. But when your mental health isn't as good as you would like it to be. So they are saying that over time, that about 5% of Americans will have some kind of a panic disorder, So like I was saying, I'm wondering if those statistics have increased quite a bit too. But that's just my personal opinion of seeing so many prevalent ideas. So again, it's females. I'm sorry, we're hormonal. To me, that makes a big difference. That may not be what they're saying. That would be, from my experience, what is causing some of the problems. When panic attacks are occurring, I don't know that I realized how much physical problems, I have not been around a person right in my backyard who's having a panic attack, but I guess I hadn't realized the tingly or numb hands would occur. So they're, pounding, a racing heart, sweating, chills, trembling, difficulty breathing, weakness, tingling, chest pain, stomach pain. These are all panic attacks symptoms. But don't you think they could be symptoms of something else? So many of these could be something else, and maybe we're not realizing it, or maybe we're having that panic attack and then it goes into something else. So everything is so connected in our bodies. So from these panic attacks, we could have repeats that are just untimely. You know, there's no way to know when they're going to happen. They're repeated at different times of the day, obviously, or the week or the month, however you want to say that. Of course, we're feeling out of control, that something very, very negative is going to happen. And maybe some of us are getting more intuitive and feeling more things. I think I'm going to talk about my assistant here, who you saw last week. You know that we're right here in the Kansas City area, and she has 2 children. And then her boyfriend has 4 children. And the day of the parade for the Kansas City Chiefs, they were going to take their children to the parade. Or they thought about, the man thought about taking the children to the parade. And Courtney had this sense. She did not get out of control. I'm not saying that whatsoever. She stood her ground and told her boyfriend that, no, you're not going to take my boys, to this parade. And through their talking and whatever, as they worked it out, they decided not to take anyone to the parade. And we all know what happened. So she had a good sense of a problem. Her body alerted her to it. She was in control. But so many of us may not be in control. Somebody else might have had that feeling and then just lost it completely, where Courtney was able to verbalize and say, no, you cannot take my kids. I don't know why, but you're not going to take them. So isn't that kind of interesting? So even just that little tiny blip, being in control or being out of control, can make a difference. And Courtney's situation really imprinted itself on my mind. And so I hope I'm sharing it correctly with you. But sometimes we can have these senses, we feel something is going on, and it's up to us what we do with that information that we feel, whether we let it get out of control or not. So if you're feeling that something's getting out of control, I hope I have some ideas to be sharing with you here in a second, something that you can grab to control that. So, of course, we have, we avoid places where we don't go and want to go. And that's was referred by Valerie Jolie, who was on that, her friend and her granddaughter don't want to drive on the interstate because they've had panic attacks there in the past. And so they have to skirt around and they have to change their life because something has happened. So these panic attacks have affected so many people. And like I'm saying, I think the statistics are worse than they're letting on. So these are some particular ideas that I got from Talkspace.com. They were just a list, and I just thought it was great enough for us to share and to show. So thank you, Talkspace.com. These are all ideas for anxiety. And, all kinds of therapies are available. We just have to know about them, research them if we want to do some talking with other people. But, maybe the person that you talk to is just your grandmother. Wasn't it lovely that Valerie could reach out to her granddaughter and help her with that? So we can be helpful in people's lives. We may not need to do an quote unquote official group therapy. Get enough magnesium. That's an easy one, isn't it? Check your vitamin D levels. Make sure you're out in the sunshine. Increase your omega-3s. I think these are really specific ideas. Vitamin Bs can help. L-theanine supplements. Try some CBD oil. Consider complementary therapy. And they're talking about massage or chiropractic, that kind of thing. Meditation. All great ideas. Begin to journal. Get outdoors. Reduce caffeine. And I was so thrilled to see switch to tea. I'm a little bit more of a tea person. So, reduce that caffeine, switch to some teas and some herbal teas. Work out. We need to do that. I believe I heard a testimony somewhere of a person who was having terrible panic attacks. And I think I saw it on, an internet site. And the key for that person healing themselves was working out intensively. So you never know. But all of us can't work out intensively. So that's why this list of 16 ideas is very good. So laugh, wow, we want to laugh. We go back to some of those old 80s sitcoms, and you get a crazy laugh once in a while, a belly laugh, and that'll help you out a lot. And the last idea they threw out was quit smoking. So all of these could be good. We need to use these ideas for every day, not just for our anxiety. These are really good ideas for most things to start with. So hopefully you're incorporating these or ideas similar to these in your daily life. But just to get and drill down just a little bit deeper, I went to, my go-to. I love essential oils because they're frequencies and they are really high frequencies. So this one was a recipe. You might want to take a picture of it, or you could find it, just by typing in essential oils for anxiety. So this one had a recipe and shows you how to make it. So there are quite a few essential oils. I think I saw one that insinuated that there were 30 essential oils for anxiety. I'm not sure that I would know all of those, but these are the ones that I have used before. So these are great anxiety ones. This is a great gift to give. So, maybe you don't have the ability to share your WAVwatch or give a WAVwatch, but maybe you're into essential oils, make somebody a roll-on and give that to them for anxiety if you know that they're having anxiety. So there is so much more that we can do that we may not be doing because these statistics are pretty overwhelming. So, and the last idea is the WAVwatch, of course, or the first idea, maybe different ways to say it. What do you think, John? Do you think when you look at the average cost of psychotherapy in the US ranges from $100 to $200 per session, how many people are going to seek professional help?
Sometimes cost can be a barrier to many different types of treatment. And while I would, I think I don't want to take away from the importance of talking to a professional for these things, because I think it is very, very important. But I do think that people could also think about utilizing the frequencies in the WAVwatch to supplement that of a professional. And if they can't afford a professional, then it might be the only thing. But I don't want to minimize the importance of in-person therapy from a seasoned professional and trained professional either.
Right. And I think that you said that really well, John, but the statistic further back was about 60% of people don't seek professional help. If I'm remembering my own statistic that I had on the screen, people are not seeking help. So I don't know if they're being scared off because of the cost of it, or they don't know where to get it. And yes, there are, we should seek help when we need it, but if you are, looking at the WAVwatch and thinking about it, you might be thinking, oh, it's got all these frequencies for anxiety, which I really have, and it has frequencies for XYZ. So, this is actually a pretty cost-effective tool, so different ways to think about it. But I did wonder if the cost is what was scaring people from going to a professional. Or, John, do you think that they are not going to a professional maybe because there's a stigma? They don't want to tell anybody. I don't know. You're muted.
Sorry, it's raining cats and dogs here, and I'm answering
Oh.
chat questions. So that's why I keep muting myself. There are a myriad of reasons why people might not seek help, and whether it's I do think that especially in recent years, some of the stigma has been removed. And that is as more people speak up and speak out about various mental illnesses and whatnot. But I feel like this is a really great kind of low stress, low cost way to at least try to begin some treatment. But a lot of things, Like a lot of things though, sometimes if we only treat the symptoms without looking at the root cause, then we're still just going to be fighting that cycle. So we've got to dig a little deeper sometimes too.
Right, right. So I think I just have a few slides left to kind of remind you of the selections that we have. We have over 100 frequencies that are in the emotional folder. And one emotion may not be the answer to anxiety or to, our main topics today, the panic attacks. It may not be the one that's labeled. So that's why you want to be open to playing more than one of them. But for many people, just cluing in on anxiety has been really, really good. Now, for me, I use the calming a little bit more. Other people might, I shouldn't say that, but OCD in the middle of the night, my brain's just, going crazy. That has been helpful. So I'm sorry, it's jumping. So there could be several ideas that you could decide to put in a playlist, but most of these are really helpful for anxiety in some ways. Not all of them, the ADD, but I don't know. When you think about it, somebody else I think has given me a testimony that the ADD one, ADHD is the one that helped them with anxiety. So you'll have to try that just a little bit and figure out which ones you like. And sometimes you use one and it works really well. And then the next time it may not work as well because it's done everything it's going to. So you need to clear out a different emotion, So there might be some changes and in frequencies that you use or could use. And again, so many people use the PTSD one. That's their go-to one for anxiety. You just never know. So we have choices, and that's what's good. We have targeted frequencies. I think my son John was at a biohacking conference this weekend, and he got to lay on something that's called a pure wave bed. And I've laid on it before a couple years ago. And that particular tool, was it $50,000, John? Seemed like it was $50,000.
I believe
And
so, yes, ma'am.
it's a big bed that you lay on, and it, kind of helps you to absorb every frequency that they could generate. So you were laying on this, bed that is really humming and buzzing away, and so they're hitting you with every frequency. But what I thought was interesting, that was one of the owners of the Pure Wave actually said, oh, the WAVwatch has targeted frequencies, So he really liked the idea that we targeted instead of just, used every frequency that could be found that made a huge sound when it was running. So another idea in the emotion folder are they're listed under Bach remedies, and I've explained these. I have a whole hour teaching segment on these before, but these are actually the frequencies originated with plants. So they made the remedies from plants originally, and they were in little tinctures. And then there was a idea of 40 of them, 38 to be exact, 38 different remedies that you could buy with just one particular plant remedy. And now they've actually put 7 plant remedies together. And then the WAVwatch has captured those frequencies in our software, And so you are getting something really, really natural, the frequency from a plant. And people are starting to realize that plants do have frequencies. It's very, very interesting. And so panic attack is specifically listed on this one. And many people have had extreme or, really good luck with playing the panic attack one. So that's where that one was listed specifically. And don't forget, again, it's 7 different frequencies in that combination. Then if you go to the single Bach remedies, these are just one frequency made from a plant and put into the WAVwatch. And they do not make a lot of sound. But if you are interested in those, which they work really well, you know. So there's the very first one is anxiety, you know, but maybe your anxiety is more anguish and despair and sorrow, you know. So there are several ideas that can be so helpful. So a lot of times I'll play through every single one of them. I just started on number one and let it loop through all of them because they are very, very helpful. And you don't quite know exactly what is causing your mental, you know, problem that you're worried about, whether it's depression or whether it's fear, whether it's unwanted thoughts, whether it's just indecision. So this is one that covers a lot too. So I hope you're taking advantage of those. You don't have to know exactly what the frequency is, but these are all in the 20 to 20,000 range. So they're great frequencies, but they are very soft to hear. And then I just wanted to show you just a couple more pictures that I have showed before, but this is thermography. And you can look up thermography in your area. And these images are taken and we are looking at heat. And so the red and actually areas that are white are the hottest spots on your body. And so this is an images of a 82-year-old woman that told me that she had PTSD and stress. And I never doubt what a client says. But I did have to swallow hard just now and swallow hard when she told me that her stress was from her great grandchildren. So I'm not sure what I'm in for on that. But basically, you can see that in a 30-minute time period, had her. Wow. John, I might let you talk a little. I'm coughing here.
Courtney actually said she'd like to speak for a second.
Love it.
And especially since you're getting a little choked up there, Mom. I'm gonna see if I can
Yep.
find Courtney, and I'll get her set up to I'll get her set up. So
Sorry about that. Just couldn't breathe all of a sudden.
I'm gonna promote you to a panelist, Courtney, and so we'll see if you can come on and talk a little bit about some of your emotions as Mom gets as Linda gets going here. So
Hey,
Hey
can you
there.
see, hear me?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, we got the printing, the orders are printing in the background, so I didn't know if you could hear me. Okay, so I've used the watch for a lot of emotions. I didn't hear what Linda said at the beginning. She shared something about me, but I was having trouble logging in, so I didn't hear it. But when we went out of town, when me and my kids went out of town over the summer, I had a friend take care of our dog while we were out of town. And when he was gone, when we were gone, he had a bout of diarrhea. And so my friend told me about that and she cleaned it up and everything, but it seems like he was sick when we were gone. And when we came back, he wouldn't go outside. Now my dog is huge. He's a Great Pyrenees. Okay. So he's one of those big shepherd herding dogs, you know, and he's very protective. We love him. So when we got back in town, he wouldn't go outside, like refused to go outside. We'd all have to push him just to get him to go to the bathroom. And so, I mean, we went through this for about a week where he literally wouldn't go outside. And that's when I realized, okay, he's traumatized because he was sick when we were gone. And I can't take him to a counselor and I can't get him to talk about his problems. So I was like, I'm going to put the WAVwatch on him. So I put the WAVwatch on PTSD, abandonment, and one other emotion. I can't remember what it was. And I put it on him. I put it on repeat. I put it on his wrist. I don't know if Linda showed that picture, but we have a picture. And
I did.
Literally, I put it on him before we went to bed. And then the next morning when we woke up, we had Tucker back, completely changed. So I don't know which one it was, but it was one of those three emotions that I set it to, or maybe it was a combo of all three. But either way, he was back to the regular Tucker. So we love that story, you know, because it worked. And I've never really done it for emotions very often because usually I like to talk about what's going on, you know, rather than put a watch on. So, but for Tucker, he couldn't talk about what was going on. So that worked out perfect for him. I've also done emotional ties to disease because I've had cancer, and a lot of doctors, especially the natural ones, but even medical ones too, agree that there sometimes can be an emotional tie to a disease like cancer. So I play emotional ties to disease because I don't want any emotional ties to disease. So that's one that I play sometimes just for fun. And I hope that it's doing something. And then also when I travel, sometimes I have a hard time sleeping and sometimes I have a hard time pooping. So those are two things that I run on the WAVwatch is emotions and sleep. So if I'm in a new place, like we're camping or I'm in Texas, I figured this out in Texas. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. I'm laying there for like an hour and I can't fall asleep. And usually when my head hits the pillow, I go to sleep. So I was really annoyed that I couldn't fall asleep. So then I just grabbed my WAVwatch, I put it on emotions and sleep, and within a minute or two, I was asleep. So that's like my go-to when I travel. I use emotions and sleep and constipation if I can't, if I'm can't go to the bathroom. So anyways, so those are two when traveling. I love those. And then also I talked about this last time, brain concentrate. That one's awesome. I usually, for the most part, I concentrate pretty well and I can stay on task, but every once in a while I feel a little bit like I'm thinking about too many things and I can't really stay focused, and I'll play brain concentrate and it really works. So anyways, so those are my emotion experiences. Just wanted to let you know.
You helped me out there. Thank you so much. I love it.
You're
All right.
welcome.
And we did show a picture of Tucker. It was perfect.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Thank you. All right. So I think we're just about finished up and our hour's just about up. And what I was trying to tell you was that I usually believe somebody because people know, like she knows that she's stressed out. That's why she can't go to sleep. That's why Courtney can't go to sleep, And so she plays sleep and emotions. And this lady told me that she had PTSD, and it was hard to believe, even though she was 82 years old, but it was from her great-grandchildren. She knew that. And so I took a picture of her, and she was playing the PTSD and stress relief, inflammation, pain, and trauma. And we looped that through for an hour. And in 30 minutes, I took a picture, and you can see that her inflammation went down. And then the last 30 minutes, I took another picture, and her inflammation was pretty much on target about what we expect to see. But this next grouping of pictures is the side view. And you can see why she was stressed out. Look what we look like. Look how inflamed we are when we have problems with, any kind of stress or anxiety or PTSD or depression or whatever you want to label that particular emotion. This is what we could be going through. So within 30 minutes, most of this really hot, white hot inflammation was wiped out by, I'm not saying, I guess I didn't say it, I can't say it cured it, I'm just saying that she was wearing the WAVwatch. I'll stop there. So the WAVwatch changed something. And then the last 30 minutes, this is what she looked like. And so her testimony was fantastic too, that all her, her tension went away and her shoulder relaxed and she could move her head better. And everything that went with that had faded away in just an hour's time. So I just appreciate that I have this technology so that I can show you things once in a while. And I think to wrap it up, I did play this several times, but this is showing you how to make playlists 2 and 3. And some people are not using their playlist 2 and 3, but I think emotions could be one of the things very specifically that you might want a playlist for. And other than that, I'm pretty much ready to start taking some raised hands. Are we doing okay time-wise? I'll go ahead and play this. I think it's, 2 or 3.
Actually, we got somebody that wants to tell a funny story. But before we do that,
Okay.
Yep. All right, I'm gonna find them on here and get them
To
able.
do some testimonies and that, and then, at the end, I'll just show you how to make the playlist if you're interested in that. Some of you
Okay.
already know and have made them.
Yeah.
All right.
9702 iPhone, you're able to talk now.
Okay, hello. I've got all these privacy settings. My name is Judy, so my name doesn't show up. So these phone things are weird to me. But
No
I'm
worries.
definitely a victim, or I'm actually been cured of the headaches thanks to you guys, thanks to this watch.
Wow.
I have a funny story I'll tell in a minute, but I do got to say that after months of wearing this watch, I don't get severe headaches anymore. I don't need Excedrin. It's really cool. All I use is a heating pad and an ice pack. And they're very, very mild. And the only thing I can say is it's because of this watch. I've done everything else the same. And the same goes with never getting sick a single time, respiratory illness during the fall or winter. And so I thank you guys very much for all your work with this. Anyway, the funny story is my son came and visited me last week from California. He's a surfer and he watches online to see where the best place is to surf every day when he goes surfing. And when he asked me what that big giant watch is on my hand, I said, it's a WAVwatch. He goes, what? Does it tell you where the best waves are? And that's my story.
That's great.
So there you go. Some interesting advertising.
Well, I don't know if he's ever needed it for aches and pains on surfing because that looks kind of dangerous to me.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
That was a great story. Thanks.
And-
Would anybody else like to add any testimonies or anything else that we need to add?
Yes, we've got Gail, and I'll have her on here.
All right.
Hi, can you hear me?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm a wellness practitioner and a WAVwatch affiliate, and I had parents here with their 7-year-old son that had alopecia, and I was working really with him as the consult, but the father said, "Do you have anything for anxiety?" And he was maybe like 30 in his 30s, and I said, "Actually, I do." So I went and grabbed the WAVwatch and I put the anxiety frequency on him. And it was just a couple minutes into it, I saw him whispering to his wife at the other end of the couch. And I said, "Is everything okay?" And he says, "This is better than my medication." And he told me that he has such debilitating anxiety that if anything goes wrong at the beginning of the day, he's like shot for the rest of the day. And I'm like, wow. And it was maybe just like, 4 minutes into the 8-minute anxiety frequency.
Wow.
That is amazing. I'm gonna message you on here. I'd love to hear some more about this because we're doing everything we can to just see how the watch has affected people and to help people and really just have some more hard data about what's working the best so that we can really focus on that and try to just help more people. When I had another career that I was in a few months ago, and before I made the full jump, I actually reached out personally to people whom I'd shared the watch with in the past, and it was really the testimonials, and it was just the personal relationships of people who'd said it had changed things for them, whether it was migraines or anything else. And so it's really wonderful and heartwarming to hear these stories. And that's what ultimately gave me the confidence to quit my other career and to jump in with both feet. And as has been written about in some newspaper article here, I'm jumping into business with my mom. So I'm excited about doing that and so grateful for you to be able to share that story, Gail. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And I think we've had a testimony from a veteran before that he uses it for several things, but he shared it with another veteran who had, I think it was bipolar, it could have been schizophrenia, but it was something in that arena. And he handed the watch to that person. And when the person started putting it on, it was already running, that he could feel it immediately. And he's going, "Oh my goodness, I can feel this right now. My attack is gone. My problem is gone." And he was just putting it on. It was like a 30-second type idea. So I'll have to get that testimony in written form, but that's the basics of it. So sometimes these emotions could go on for days and days with some people. And maybe if you try something, you might have a little bit quicker relief. So thank you so much. Any other questions or testimonies that anybody wants to share?
Martha is wondering if, well, okay, this is not a testimony. John Rosario would like to speak for a second, and John Rosario, you are able to talk, and then after John goes, Linda, Martha is wondering some instructions on making playlists. Okay.
Can you
Okay, so
hear me?
that's what we're playing. Right.
Yeah, we can hear you,
Can-
John.
You can hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, because I can't see me. Oh, there's my picture. Okay. Yes. Anyways, I just got introduced to this watch 2 days ago. And there's so many of those stories I've got. But immediately when I put it on, I felt something happening. And I'm a wellness practitioner into health and wellness and massage and Reiki and shamanic and health and nutrition. And the list keeps going on and on. And I put this on the day that the gentleman gave it to me. And he kept sharing all these stories about his hearing and everything else. But, I immediately felt something was shifting as soon as I put it on. But the biggest story that I've got with this was that he let me borrow it. I still have it. And I put the eye one for eyes because I've been starting to wear reading glasses. And so I said, well, let me do the eyes one. And I've noticed that my sight is starting to improve just a little bit. I mean, but that's again, I've only been using it for like not even 48 hours yet. But one thing that really got my attention was I took a nap with it on, and it was in the eye mode. And I went to go and reach over to turn off something with my left arm, and I've had an issue with my left arm I've been working on. I reached over and I had to stop for a moment because there was no discomfort when I reached over. And that just, I had to go back and forth and go, wait a minute. I went back to reach over and the discomfort was like 90% different from what it was just hours before. And I've already been working on that area opening up because there has been an issue with that shoulder. This just ramped it up even that much more. And I also have to share, I have a device that's called a biocharger, which works with sound, light, vibration, voltage, PEMF frequencies. And so far, the watch kind of took over what the biocharger did and just enhanced it even that much more because my shoulder issue disappeared that quickly. The other quick stories I have to share. I mean, there's a couple of them. My knee readjusted because I've been realigning my tissue because everything's all twisted up from twisted ankles and what I've been studying about the body. And I also, during that same period that my arm did its thing, I was doing my little movements and my knee popped and it opened up and got realigned even better than it was before. And then I shared it with my sons. I have 3 children and a grandson who all have myotonic dystrophy. Now, 2 of them live with me, the son and the grandson. I mean, son and the stepson. I gave it to my son, and he immediately, as soon as I put it on, he was like, something's happening. And then he kind of went to sleep. And then I went down later and took it off his arm. He was still asleep. But the following morning, he wakes up and he yells upstairs. He said, "Dad, wow." And he was like, I feel wonderful. And I was just ecstatic because, I mean, he's had his challenges and he's also has a pacemaker. So that was another thing that I had to look up to find out if this would work with somebody with a pacemaker. And I found the video that you had put on the pacemakers that it works fine because it's just sound. So, and he was willing to try it. Well, he's ecstatic. He's like, I want one of these things. I got to have one of these watches because he felt that good from it. And
Wow.
he even had a little stomach issue that he shared the next day that, right after I put it on, within about maybe a minute, the discomfort in his abdomen area went away. And he said he slept the best he could. He slept in a long time. And then I gave it to his brother, who's my stepson, and he wore it. And he came upstairs this morning and he shared with me, he was showing me his arm. He fell on his arm a few days ago. And he started to show, I couldn't lift my arm past here. He lifted it up further than he did before without any discomfort. And that was just wearing the watch once. And so I'm so in awe with this watch. I want to get more of them just because I need to give it to my daughter who has the dystrophy, but she doesn't live with me. I want to try it out with her. But I'm just like going, okay, I need like a whole crate full of these things in order to share with people.
Well,
Well, we'll
I'll
get
be-
you set up.
Yeah, I'll be reaching out about our practitioner program and talking to you some more. And thanks so much for sharing, John. And we really appreciate you, sir.
That was
Okay, I
terrific.
appreciate you too. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Gina mentioned that she would like to share a little bit with us here. So,
Hi. Well, first, I just want to thank you so much for this call because anxiety and all that has been my major issue that's caused everything else to go haywire in my life. And I am a performer as well as a health practitioner. And before I got the watch, I was just in a stew about debuting a new show. It's a show that I've rewritten, and I haven't done it for a while. And I was just about ready to have major meltdowns. I was having panic attacks so bad. And since I've gotten this, it's made such a difference for me. I just can't even begin to tell you how much difference it's made. My show is on Saturday, so I'll let you know how I do.
Nice.
that's exciting.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
mean, seriously, Linda, it's like, and I think even listening to this today, realizing how many other people are having issues with this, because sometimes I tend to beat myself up because I'm actually a health practitioner, but I'm also an intuitive. And I appreciate Courtney's story very much because I'm very sensitive. So I do readings as well as working with sound healing. I'm a sound healer and a singer. And so I work from both ends. And so I incorporate all of the healing into everything I do. So I'm getting different ideas. John, I think it was John that just mentioned that you have a practitioner's program. I would like to have some information about that.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was going to recommend to people with anxiety, do the adrenal fatigue, because before I had all these tools, I had it really bad. And it was Dr. Joe Dispenza's work that helped me pull out of it to the point that it was at that point. But what I had learned in the process of it, because I'd always had adrenal issues, but they seem to go hand in hand. And I'm not really sure, how they operate together, but that's just my experience with it, that if I really watch my adrenal stuff, as far as making sure I'm eating on this, like the adrenal schedule, like every 2 or 3 hours, when it's bad, make sure I'm doing that and really going after it by feeding the adrenals and probably using the adrenal program.
Gina, thanks for mentioning that because I forgot to put that in the program. That
I have it in my
adrenals
list
do
for
really help.
anxiety. Yeah, I put it in my list for anxiety. It's the last one because I thought, oh yeah, adrenals. So yeah, that's I would say a really important one.
Yes, it is, and I forgot it completely.
Yeah, I
Great
think
to have
everybody
feedback
that's
that's
got
helpful.
anxiety should use it because the adrenals get really worn out from all the cortisol and the I can't ever pronounce that one, but the adrenaline,
Epinephrine.
the other one, the stress hormones.
Epinephrine. Yeah.
Absolutely wreak havoc on the adrenals. So if you're putting a list together for that, do that. So that's what I wanted to add. And I've only had it 2 or 3 weeks, and I got more information today of how to work with this more and just spread it out. And so I thank you so much for developing this, Linda. It's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right.
Get it. Linda, it looks like, so Steve has a question about a frequency for shingle. I wasn't able to find one, but I wondered if you had any other ideas. for that.
Shingles is actually another name for shingles. The more medical name, quote unquote, is herpes zoster. So it is in the virus folder, and there's 3 different categories. Herpes zoster, that is shingles.
Okay. And that's
All
it
right.
looks like that's under the
Germs and then
Germs.
viruses.
germs and viruses. Yes.
Mhm.
I knew you would have the answer because I certainly didn't. Thank you. And then it looks like Martha, oh, so you have a video about making playlists. Are you going to play that right now, or should
Yeah.
we just refer
Here
people-
we go. I'll
Okay.
do that. Here's our
Thank you,
playlist.
Martha.
Now, let's say that we have somebody who we want to make a second playlist for, maybe a husband and wife, or maybe you're sharing this watch with somebody who's in assisted living, like my mom, and can't do it herself. So we might want a playlist made and all ready to go. So basically what we're going to do is a little bit different. We're going to find the particular idea that we want, and I'll show you this again with maybe just a little bit different idea. So if we wanted to go to chronic, we could go down to chronic fatigue, and we could touch that one. Now this is a little bit different right here. Instead of putting it in the heart folder, you have to touch the menu bar. And then you very carefully go down. This one just goes one at a time, and you'll see add to playlist. So you'll touch add to playlist, and then you'll see your 3 playlists there. So we're going to add this to playlist number 2. And when I touch that, it opens up and it says chronic fatigue, yes or no. So you're going to touch yes, and it's now gives you a signal it's added to playlist number 2. Now, if I want to remove this, I have to go down 1 arrow, and it will give me a choice of which playlist. And then it will say remove from playlist, yes. So that's a pretty easy one there. Now, if you want to add it to playlist 3, not too hard now. You're going to add that to playlist number 3. If you want to take it out, you're going to remove from the playlist right in those particular areas. So playlist 2 and 3 go through the home screen, and you arrow down to add to playlist or remove from playlist. Hope that helps you. Okay. Now let's say that we have somebody who we want to make a... I didn't mean to play it twice. Sorry about that. I think we are just about finished unless John has anything else that he wants to add. I just wanted to thank everybody for coming today and their feedback and testimonies.
I think that's all, but I'm excited about it. And who knows, I think I might play some of these anxiety and stress ones today because I've been bouncing a bunch of balls around today, and gonna try to. So thank you for sharing as well, Linda.
All right.
We
Bye,
appreciate
everybody.
participating. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
There we go. Bye, everybody. Thanks for coming on.